Hello, dear viewers. I would like to come you through this channel. Today, we are going to talk about information sources. When you talk about information sources, uh, simple definition we can give you that information sources. These are tools for any or documents that give you data or knowledge or information about specific field of work or specific studies. When we talk about these information sources, this is where you get your desired information from. It can be on different forms, maybe articles, but just depends on the field of your studies. Uh, these information sources, they are grouped mainly into two. When we talk about this grouping, we mean them in terms of users or or to whom it has been started first. When we start, the first one we have primary information sources. When you talk about primary information sources, these are also information which are first hand, or it's that person who has experienced the event is the first person to explain what happened. That's what we talk about the primary sources. No one has even interpreted it, it's just from its source, or the person who experienced that phenomenon becomes the primary information source. Another one, we have what is called secondary information sources. These are information already, maybe if we call them, we can make it to be maybe secondary information because it has come from edited work, meaning it has come from primary sources. This is where people go and evaluate more on primary sources. They add on. So it comes from the primary source being edited, being analyzed. So adding more information to primary work is what becoming another type called secondary sources. Uh, we have some characteristics. These information types or the forms of information sources. If we start with the primary sources, some characteristics uh, we have mainly four that we can explain. One of the characteristics of a primary information source is that it's time related. When we talk about time related, we mean like the time it has been created, they're always connected. So it's all connected, that is historical time that has been happening. That's why we are saying it's time related. It's always connected to the time it has been happening or to that person who has been witnessing the phenomenon. And the characteristics that we can give is that it's a it's always, let me think in terms of originality. It's always original. Uh, the originality we're talking about, meaning its origin. It's mainly connected to its information. It's first information being availed, so it's always connected to the origin. Always, it's a first-hand information. Another characteristic that you can give is that it's unmediated. We talk about unmediated, meaning no one has ever edited it. It's still virgin information. No one has ever done anything on it. No one has ever conducted anything. Only the people involved in the phenomenon, they are the only people in the source. When we talk about, again, we have another kind of characteristics, which is the raw data. When we talk about something is raw, meaning it has just been output the way it has been conducted. This you can give simple example from this type of characteristic that is concerning the scientist, maybe from lab. So that let's take an instance like they have conducted some experiments. So those experiments, they are still output. So they haven't analyzed. That's what we're saying is raw data. They have just made analysis on it, but no one has ever done analysis on it or more research about it. That's what we're saying is raw data. We can also look into some few characteristics of secondary information sources. If we talk about secondary information sources, as we mean it's now people who are going to edit the primary source, those who are going to analysis. So when we talk about this, you can start with one characteristic which is like we can say it's a interpretative. We talk about interpretative meaning already analysis has been made on primary source. So the analysis has been made, so they have interpreted more of the primary source, how far it has been conducted. As you are saying, it's interpretative. So it's really interpreting what primary sources were. So for some of these primary sources, they need to be interpreted by people who can make us understand more. Another characteristic that you can give, uh, it's evaluative. When you say evaluative, you can connect it in terms of assessments and opinions. Can give us a summary of opinions of different field of primary sources that they have come with to access or assess more information about them or give us the access of those primary sources to combine up with them to give us more valuable information. When we talk about, we have another characteristic. This characteristics also is one of them, being in. We have another one, as I've been telling you. Another one we can say summary. Summary is also one of the characteristics of the secondary information sources. When we say summary, meaning many of primary sources that have been gathered up to see their differences and their relationships in terms of differences and in the similarities. So different sources have been combined to give us some serious information so that you can bring the comparison between them, giving us summary as one of the characteristics. We have another type which is the last not least. We have what is called contextual. You say something is contextual, it comes from terms of context, meaning the information they have been giving us in primary sources. We shall see the trends and the movement, how they have been arranged in terms of their time, the trends, how long, the duration. So give us a combination of those contexts, how we can combine them, how we can evaluate them very well, uh, according to their the information availed, the secondary source. We can also go to see some of the examples of these information sources in terms of their forms. Let's try to start with the primary source information. Some of the examples. The example of primary sources we have documents. Documents can be in terms of personal letters. The letter you always write is one of the primary sources because you are the first person to no one has ever interpreted your work. You're writing a letter maybe to your boss or to your friend. That one becomes primary source. We have legal documents such as court cases. Those cases they are always first-hand information. No one has interpreted them. They have been made, but they are under primary sources. Uh, some of these documents also we have now. When you are saying we have what's called we have newspapers. Newspapers also one of the primary informations. No one edited them; they're just fresh. And then we have also historical documents. Maybe those documents concerning East African like Trans-Saharan movement. Those ones they become our primary information sources. We have also another example. We have creative work. Creative work, you can say how you create your things, maybe in terms of poems. We have novels, how creative you are. Anything you put down in terms of your ideas, in terms of poems, novels, maybe let me say also musical notes. Those notes, your primary information. Also, we have oral interviews. This one can be testimonies. Testimonies are always first-hand information. Yeah. So we have testimonies and we have interviews. You have been questioned, you have been called for a job, so they'll be questioning you. So those are the types of also examples of the primary information sources. Also, we have another example, which is artifacts. Artifacts, these are how we express our thoughts in terms of reality things. That can mean in terms of buildings, designing clothes. Those are types of artifacts. What we have, some of these artifacts in terms of buildings, we can talk of the pyramids in Egypt. So it's also one of the primary sources in terms of artifacts. We have also scientific research, one of those examples. Scientific research can say in laboratory test, you have been, maybe a physicist, you have been doing your practicals with your pendulum bulb. So the records you have made down there, they haven't analyzed, so they are still virgin, if you can say like that. So those are some of the examples of primary information sources. Let's try to see also some examples of secondary information sources. We have we have one of the examples is documentaries. Talk about documentaries. These are films or videos created basing on someone's phenomenon or occurrence or anything which has been recorded following the primary source. Let's take an example like we have documentaries on football as a take an example. So all the games which has been played by Messi, all those videos he has been going through the scores. So those are the times we call them documentaries, the video made following that time he has been doing that work. Since he has been edited, meaning since he has been analyzed, made in terms of video, they become secondary source example. We have what is called encyclopedia. Encyclopedia, this one summarizes more information in secondary source in terms of the information being summarized from primary. So they give more information. Some of these example tool we can give Wikipedia. Wikipedia is one of the platform we use to summarize this primary source to give a secondary source. Yeah, also we have books. Books are always secondary sources information. Let's take example of these books. Like you can have them like biographies. Biographies they talk about one's life. Maybe someone has been going through certain life, so they write all what you have been going through. We have also some of the books can be maybe in terms of pamphlets, explain more about information. As example, we can give, we can say journal articles. Articles there will contain some ideas of, say, if you're saying it's journal articles, you have some literature. Literature, this one can go and explain, summarize more of the primary sources. They give us simple details about certain primary source being summarized in a nice way. Another example, which is last not least, we can say this is essay and reviews. When we say something, essays meaning a more detailed information about a certain topic being written and giving information mainly from the primary being a very source. The reviews, we're saying reviews meaning again they are reviewing, analyzing more from the primary source to give us more details into the secondary source. But thank you, my dear viewers, for having attended to me all this while. Please, I would like you to like and subscribe. Bye.